New Vegas, it's a game that has captured the hearts of millions of gamers, but I have a strange relationship with this game series. I played Fallout 3 once and I didn't like it. Bored in the empty location, no interest in plot, I only lived a few hours and then I turned it off. But I heard so much praise for New Vegas that I just couldn't pass it up. Today I'm going to tell you what it's like to play Fallout New Vegas for the first time. The beginning of the game is very intense. The murder of the main character, some weird things, a bald doctor, you go outside and you're like... It's so beautiful. Fuck. I ended up in a nice little town called Goodsprings, not far from New Vegas. It's a quiet little town like something out of a cowboy movie. All that's missing is some atmospheric background music. No, not that one. That's better. I started my investigation by asking around the neighborhood, and the first thing that really surprised me was how alive the world is. If you think back to Fallout 3 and the first town with the atomic bomb, you have to ask the question: where do they get water? Where do they get food? Why they even live in there? Okay, these fanatics, but why are normal people living around a damn nuclear bomb? It's just a nice set where you can do quests. That's not the case in New Vegas. There are farms where they get their food, there is a mine with clear water, and we help the village solve these basic problems. Together with Sally, we killed the Geekons to get the mine. It seems like such a simple thing, but how much it makes it feel real. They're not puppets just giving you quests, it's like they're real people. And I really like that approach to the open world. The second thing that surprised me from the beginning was the role-playing component. A group of gunpowder gangers come into town and got into conflict with the locals, and it's up to you to decide who you want to help. I didn't hesitate for a minute, oh no. I teamed up with the locals and fought off the raiding party. Only the old Pete fucking asshole wouldn't give me dynamite. The most amazing thing about this battle is not that you can choose who you fight for, but the consequences of your actions. Because I messed up the karma with the powder gangers, when I went to the next town I had to fight them all the time, and in fact, by my choice I cut off access to half of the initial quests. The power gangers had their quests too, but now they wouldn't give them to me. That's not the way modern games usually work. Comes out new Assassin's Creed, for example, and the developers say we have 150 hours of content. This is the most massive games in the series. Well, you've never seen anything like it. 90% of the game is the usual grind, and the main quests there are very few. Can you imagine if they took away access to, say, 50 quests? No, they don't have that many interesting quests. But here your choice affects the relationship with the factions, the availability of quests, and you are much more responsible to make a choice. You believe in the realism of what's going on, and then the skill of the role-playing system starts to grow. I arrived in the town called Primm. It's a little grey town where the fake Bonnie and Clyde grow up. There is a whole museum decided to them. A group of bandits has taken over the town, and I have to kill them all, and then I have 4 choices. Make the coward the sheriff, appoint the rabbit, rescue the former sheriff from prison, or ask the NCR for help. The last option seemed the most reliable, so I chose it, but it's not that simple. When I first met NCR, I didn't like them very much. They had some good ideas about reviving the proper world, but they seemed so weak. Sitting around the town and not being able to drive out the bandits. Why are you sitting here? But there was no better choice than NCR at that moment. Also in the town I noticed a rather interesting building, the Mojave Express. A strange robot in the cowboy hat placed a delivery order, and a courier came here to pick it up. The locals say they can't remember what he looks like, but I guess it was the main character, so there is something wrong with that robot. Alright. When I heard that my enemies had gone to Novak, I set out immediately, but together I had to go through another town, Nipton. It's just a hole in the end of the world. It was the most horrible town I'd ever see. Here I meet the second main faction, the Legion. My first impression was, brutal. Some savages had just walked in and wiped out an entire town. Bodies on the ground, destroying buildings, hanging people. To be honest, I'm a little afraid of them. The Legion seems to me to be the opposite of the NCR. There was a good approach but not much power, and here is a bad approach but a lot of power. So cut a long story short, at first I did not like any of these factions. Now of course my opinion of them has changed a lot, but more on that later. After doing some side quests like kill those red roaches, please, I finally got a nice weapon and went to the next town, Novak. And god, this is my favorite city. I don't know why, maybe because of the giant dinosaur in the middle of town, but it's so atmospheric. If Goodsprings is more of a home village, Novak is just something magical. I feel like if I lived in the wasteland, this is where I'd live. But here is the weird thing. As soon as I entered the town, I meet a robot named Victor. Yeah, the same robot for Goodsprings, the same robot that might have been in the Prim. He's literally following me. I think he has something to do with my murder.
Don't fuck me.
Victor.
Here in Navak I get my first really interesting quests to deal with the ghouls in Ripcon. First you walk through really scary corridors. I am not a fan of horrors because I'm really scared of them, so this really tickled my nerves. There you meet this interesting bunch of religious ghouls, and of course this funny guy who thinks he's a ghoul. I felt so bad about him not getting on the ship that I decided to take revenge on the ghouls. No, I didn't sabotage their flight. I helped them with repairs and they successfully flew to the moon. Does this sound strange? Imagine their faces when they get to the moon, an instant of sacred land, they see a wasteland, a real wasteland. Oh, I'm such a bad person. After finishing my business in the city, I made my way to the Vegas. It was a long way as I traveled through the wasteland, trying not to get killed by pacing bandits or monsters. Very often I could hear the sound of gunfire somewhere in the distance. And the most interesting thing is, this is not scripted sound. Every time you hear gunfire, there is a real battle going on somewhere, and you can go and see it. It doesn't seem like it makes a difference, but it's actually very important. When you go travel around the world, you start to believe in the reality of Mojave. Little things like that adapt to the big picture, and you see this open world in a completely different way. Speaking of which, usually in games from Bethesda Maximum Open Worlds, you can get to any location from the very beginning of the game, and the method in this auto-leveling. That's how it works in Fallout 3, that's how it works in Skyrim. But the main downside of this system is that you don't feel the progression. If you go back to the starting point at the end of the game, you will kill bandits for the same 3 hats. New Vegas uses a completely different system. The map is kind of open, but there is a low level and high level locations. For example, I tried to go to New Vegas through the top from the beginning, and I was immediately killed by these beasts. Eventually you'll be led by the hand to explore all the major locations, city after city until you reach New Vegas, but no one is stopping you from going off the beaten path and exploring another location, and I like this approach much better. You grow as a character, and not only are you able to kill your enemies faster, you are also able to move around the wasteland more safely. That's one of the things I like the most. After some time I finally arrived in New Vegas, a huge city divided into several places, this zone where the locals live, there is always a murders and people are starving, and the Strip, the place of debauchery and gambling, and these two different worlds are separated by a wall. I tried go through the robots and they say, bro, no bumps allowed, even show me money or give me your passport. I went to the Elvis Presley gangsters, I love those guys, and after a couple of quests, they helped me to make a fake passport and I finally got on the Strip. It's amazing how beautiful a city can be. I guess it's not much of a surprise nowadays, but when you realize that the next 200 miles are literally wasteland, Vegas seems like a dream town. And just after a few minutes of admiring the city, I meet the owner of Vegas, Mr. House. Turns out it was his underling Betty who killed me to get the platinum chip, and it was his robot that chasing me all the time. After talking to the talking head, I went to one of the local casinos to deal with Betty. Before I went in, a trader came up to me and offered to buy a small pistol from him, so I thought, I don't need it to a gun, I'll deal with him like a grown man. Inside the casino I was confronted with a harsh reality.
Halt! Sir, you can't enter with that weapon. No weapons allowed. I'll have to confiscate it.
Okay, I get it, I was wrong. Benny is a calm man who'll betray anyone for profit. He offered me a partnership right off the bat. Forget your past disagreements, let's have a drink. I agreed, of course, and put a half-caliber bullet in his head. Hasta la vista, baby. Having said the pathos at the same time courage sentence, I left the casino and was never seen again. The end. So wait, that's it? No, it wasn't. As we travel through the wasteland, we'll become a major player in the battle over the Hoover Dam. Which faction should we support? NCR, maybe the Legion, how about Mr. House? Let's tear them all apart. Mr. House. He's been alive for over 200 years and he's the one who saved New Vegas from being bombed, but to be honest, I didn't like him from the very beginning. With all his resources, the people in Vegas outside the Strip are living very poorly. Sure, he wants to create new technology, asymmetry space, but he's not creating new technology for people, he's creating technology for technology. He's very self-centered, narcissistic, and he's over 200 years old. It's hard to call him a normal person. In such a long time, you will not only despise the humans, you will hate hate them, and you will create an army of robots around you. I have no desire to put power in the hands of such a man. If the city is to be ruled by a selfish king, it will be me, not some mummy. NCR. I have an interesting history with them. The more I interacted with them, the more I liked them. First of all, I learned about their power, that they are actually much more powerful than I thought at first glance. In fact, they are probably the most powerful group in the game. The NCR is America, with all its advantages and disadvantages, bureaucracy, taxes, working under strict orders. There are so many more minuses, but they are not that critical. In the end, I think people are better off under the NCR. The other thing is Legion. The more I learn about it, the less I like it. Some savages in Roman costumes promoting slavery. Overall, the game gives a complete picture of the Legion as clowns. But when I open the New Vegas wiki and read the Caesar story, my opinion of them changed. No, I still don't like them, but at least now you understand their ideology. It's basically a smart man who impoverished tribes of savages and taught them the military. All in all, it sounds good, a little rationalization for savages. But his approach to slavery, that's a cringe. You know, he's one of those people who read smart books and think they're the only one who know the truth. In fact, the only people he can lead are the stupid savages. In general, it seems to me that the game did not reveal them well enough, and 99% of the players will not choose the Legion. In one of the interviews, the developers even admitted that they did not enough time to work on this faction. In general, when choosing between 3 factions, they decided to choose no one of them. Take control of the robots and take over. Will the citizen be better off? Probably not. If I get fucked over and someone get access to the robots? Probably yes. But I still think it's the most fun scenario. So we're choosing a faction, what's next? And then we have to study other faction that can help in the fight for Hoover Dam. Well, and of course doing interesting quests. This part of the game is probably the longest, so let's summarize. The coolest faction for me, the Brotherhood of Steel. They look like a real Order of Knights. Cool armor, strict hierarchy, honor, hiding castle underground. And that's not all. Even though their quests were pretty boring, I was told to use the damn power armor. I'm like a walking tank now. It also has such a cool sound. When I jump, it's like a helicopter taking off. Excuse me. Of course, the Brotherhood's ideology is a bit specific and not good, but it has the right to live. The Boomers, for example, are much stranger in their ideas. Boomers are reclusive people who are obsessed with explosives, and their dream is to take a get bomber and blow everything up. I think that's a lot worse than just taking cool weapons. But still, it's not like they're bad people. It's more like their ancestors wanted to destroy everyone, and now they're getting to the point where they need to get out of their comfort zone, make trade connections and stuff like that. They even have their own Romeo and Juliet here, handsome blonde boy looking for a girl from the trade caravan. Romance. After I help them, we pulled a huge bomber out of the wagon together. Guess who they are going to help now? Me, of course. The rest of the bomber's quests were not as interesting, but these two will be remembered for a long time. After that, I went to the Great Huns. I got fucked by the slashers and made it to the base, banned from the Great Huns, so fuck them. I told the yes-man to ignore them. I was planning on ignoring 2 other factions, Omerta and White Glow. They are the clans that run the casinos and run the strip. Omerta is classical Italian mafia, but White Glow is a little more complicated. They own the best restaurant in the town called Gourmet, and they eat people. In general, in the world of Fallout lives a huge number of strange and sometimes sick people, so I don't actually need support from people like that. Okay, who am I kidding? I do. As you walk around and get to know the factions, sometimes you'll find cool side quests. It's a place where abnormal amounts of plants are melting and noxious gas is spreading. And I am not mentioning this quest to prize it, but rather to berate it. I spent so much time looking for that sticking keycard that I was already jumping on my chair in anger. All these rooms are so similar to each other that it's more like a maze. And really, this is not just a problem with the shelter, but with other indoor locations as well. The rooms are made so confusing and similar to each other that after a few minutes of wandering around, you want to leave as soon as possible. But no, you have to run back and forth every time. Well, let's not talk about the bad stuff. The best quest in the game is 100% Atomic Cowboy. Find 3 employees for your brothel and have a lot of fun at the same time, not only physically, but also mechanically. By the way, I completely forget the mentioned companions. My very first companion was Edie. I restored him with my repair skills and he helped me throughout the game. I tried to do the quests that come with him, but I honestly never got around to it. My second companion was Boone. God, how I adore this guy. He's so serious, he's always wearing that red beret and he's always wearing the pathos. Boone is a legend. I've ever met another companions, but I never like anyone better than these two. They're like family to me. I once considered replacing Iri with a mechanical dog. I will definitely try to complete his quest next time. This is my first playthrough, so I may have missed a lot of interesting quests. Write your favorite extra quest in the comments so I can find it. So I did quest after quest, getting stronger, leveling up, finding new weapons, and I was ready to fight for the Hoover Dam. After I switched the power grid at the dam, I saved the president. Or almost saved. I was stuck on this quest for about an hour. Someone planted a bomb after the chopper landed. I tried to go through the roof, climb over the hill, sneak past the guard, stealth boy, and it turns out all I had to do was talk. 2 words and the clown let me in. I wish the president was dead. My main mission was something else, of course. I have to destroy the NCR and the Legion and become the leader of Las Vegas myself. So I started killing Legionnaires, and that's when my hometown boomers flew in and blew out the hell of the most Legion men. But that's the small stuff. The thing I enjoyed the most was talking to NCR. I had a short conversation with my robot army. I taunted them and then sent their leader to feed the fish. It's like a happy ending, but then Yesman comes to me and says,
"Reprogram my personality."
Fuck, I know it will end like this. He'll get his own identity, his own ambition, and I'll be left with nothing. Alright, there is nothing I can do. And then they show me the ending. Everything is fine, the Yesman is fine, and people in many places are better off. But that never went away, because war never changes. Fallout is a huge universe that is loved for a freedom of actions, a huge open world to explore and learn more about the wasteland world. But I am not a big fan of open worlds. It seems cool in theory. You can go wherever you want and become wherever you want, but it's a two-way street. When developers start making more open worlds, the quality of the story starts to suffer. Instead of a rich story with something interesting going on all the time, you get tours and a bunch of uninteresting side quests. It was the open world that keeps me from playing this game for a long time. But Fallout New Vegas turned out to be a really good, if not the best RPG. I have never seen such a variety of storylines in any other game at the time. I was wrong to be skeptical about this game and not give it a chance for so long. So anyone who is skeptical as I am about whether or not to try this game, just do it! And if you're already a Fallout fan, why don't you go watch YouTube, download Fallout and pre-play your favorite game? I am now thinking about trying Fallout 3, and if you are interested in watching a video of me talking about the game, then like this video and leave a comment. And I am off to replay New Vegas for the second time. Good luck and bye!